Good morning. This is Secret the Scuffed coming at you live with Ace Attorney Dual Destinies. Now, yesterday we did our first investigation in a month, and we finished it, even though we did go over time just a little bit. Now, luckily today we don't have to worry about that because we have quite a bit more time than yesterday, or not yesterday, but 2 days ago. And we should be able to get through this entire trial. Now, I've done some thinking on this since last time. And I remember most of the things I spouted that I thought were going to happen. So let's go over the court record real quick so I can change some of my statements. First of all, let's see. I said at first, upon first meeting Jinxie here, that I thought her forehead little bandage was hiding something. But upon realizing that her father has done the same thing upon suffering a near fatal wound, I would like to rescind that. It is probably just a character design little gimmick. Now, I also said that she's probably unintentionally involved in this, and she most certainly will be because she's going to be a witness. And she's probably going to say things that hurt the defense. But I don't think she was really physically unintentionally involved, because it was very clear from last time that little Phineas Filch here and Florent LaBelle are, the perpetrators. They're working very close together. Other things to note, obviously we made the not so, amazing discovery that QB and Ninetales are the same person. It's pretty obvious to everyone watching, everyone playing. Trucy has disappeared. She probably will not be playing the role of assistant in this trial. I imagine that's going to go to Athena, unless we're playing as Athena for some reason. But I would doubt that, since I believe she still had her trauma during the previous trial, which was a prequel. And since the opposition this time, the prosecutor, is related to that trauma, she's probably going to take on the assistant role. And we're going to be playing as Apollo. Especially since they went out of their way to give us a tutorial on Apollo's bracelet technique. Fulbright, obviously, is just going to be opening witness. And that's about all for the people. As for the evidence, I'm not really sure what to do with all this. Obviously, the maps are self-explanatory. It's just showing how people seemingly can't get in the front, but the vent is there to transmit sound. And we also have flour, which so far has no apparent use, other than perhaps calming down Jinxie in case we go into an emotion thing. We have the flight, which is unexplained still. And what else? Yeah, we have the mask. We have the scroll, which shows that the fox only has 8 tails. And I said that last time. I want to check that again, just to make sure I'm not going crazy. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, 8 tails on the fox. And 6 little fluff balls on the Yokai. Which is not present in any of the real-life instances of it. Also missing a hand here. I don't know if it's supposed to be missing a hand. That could be important. But I think that's enough speculating for now. I think we should just get right into it, yeah? Oh, can you guys hear me? Have I been muted this whole time? Probably should check that first, eh? Oh, no, I'm good. Why do I have her mark? Oh, nope, we're all good. Yep. Okay, let's head into it. Alright, I have to voice Athena. You okay, Athena? You've been really antsy ever since we got here. I'm just excited. This is my first real court case after all. Yeah, a real ball of excitement she is. I know just what she needs. Athena! Oh, wait. Can I scream today? No, I cannot. Sorry, Apollo, your cords of steel will once again be, dampened. Let's see how well I can do this, though. Whisper screaming is not great for the throat. Athena! Yeah, didn't you ever learn about indoor and outdoor voices? I'm just trying to show you the best way to relive or relieve your pre-trial jitters. By scaring the daylights out of me? No, I find that shouting "I'm fine" in a loud voice really relieves stress. It's part of my cords of steel voice workout, and a must before every trial. You want me to shout? Here? That's right. Here, I'll go first, then you try. I'm Apollo Justice, and I'm fine. All right. I'm Athena Sykes, and I'm fine. I think that actually worked. I thought it might help. Always works for me. An old friend of mine from junior high and I say it all the time. I see. A proven remedy to calm the soul. I like it. Hey, how about we finish off with a race around the courthouse? No, the point is to relieve stress, not get totally exhausted. What's with all the racket, you two? Ooh, stammering on Phoenix's voice, that's not good. Oh my! This is the first time we've seen Phoenix like face to face like this. He is noticeably older looking. And I don't just mean that because like he's in 3D. I mean, compared to not just the flashback to his college form, but also just the original trilogy, he looks tired. Also, I believe I heard this fun fact somewhere. I don't know if it's true, but apparently he has different models used whenever he's facing forward or facing at an angle in the courtroom, because his hair looks weird if they didn't do that. So we'll keep an eye on that. Try and get some comparisons in, see if that's right or wrong. Mr. Wright. Just a little voice workout. Hey, what's with that suit? Oh, this? I was thinking about getting my attorney's badge back, that's all. That's all? That's huge news! But why now? I have a feeling I'll be needed in the courtroom some... Oh, man. Really stumbling on Phoenix's words. That's alright. We always give myself about 20-minute grace period to get into things. I have a feeling I'll be needed in the courtroom again sometime soon. But we can talk about that another time. No fair. Inquiring minds want to know. But, wow. Oh, they even made a 3D model for his unemployed outfit. Alright. I'm so used to seeing him in his usual laid-back clothes. That suit makes him look like $1 million. Oh, wrong intonation. That suit makes him look like $1 million. By the way, have you heard about the prosecutor assigned to this case? Yeah, he's serving time, but before that, he was a prosecutor. He also uses psychology? That's right. I've heard of the rumors about how he was back before his conviction. Using the power of suggestion, he could make even the most stalwart defendants confess. Psychology in the courtroom. Been hearing a lot about that lately. That sounded more like Phoenix was implying hypnosis. I wouldn't put it past this game. Supernatural elements have always found their way into the court. Usually on our side. Maybe it's the opposition side turned... man. Come on. Stop being tongue-tied, eh? So, he must be a pretty scary guy, considering he's a prison inmate and all. So they say. They also say he'll cut you down if you talk too much. I knew he was going to be bad news. It's probably just hyperbole. At least, I hope for your sake. Yes, well, I don't doubt that, considering Francisco was allowed to have a whip in the courtroom and use it against everyone, including the judge. Oh, wait, so is it true or not? Let's just say you should be concise and choose your words carefully. If you'd like to keep that head of yours attached to the rest of your body, that is. Yikes. Better tone down my cords of steel, too. So, are you all ready? It might be a good idea to check the court record again before stepping into the ring. Well, we just did that. Perfect. Right, Mr. Wright, but I'm fine. I'll be watching from the gallery. Good luck. Thanks. Okay, let's do this. The odds of pulling this off are ridiculously low, but that's nothing new. Believe in our client, seek the truth. That's all we can do. Hang in there, Mayor Tenma. Here comes justice! Ooh, been a while since we had one of those. Oh yeah, it really has been a while since we had those since we played as Athena in the first trial. Let's see. The familiar old courtroom. Now in 3D. Oddly empty seeming. Or not seeming, but it is very spacious compared to the previous artwork of it. Court is now in session for the trial of Damien Tenma. Apollo Justice, defense team leader, is ready, Your Honor. That's a weird way to introduce yourself. I know that big booming voice anywhere. As chipper as ever, eh, Mr. Justice? You know, I note this every time someone talks about Apollo's voice. He is stated often to have a big voice, but also have a slightly raspy voice, or not, or at least I think at the beginning he did because he had a sore throat. But I've just stuck with that raspy voice, kind of, ever since. I'm not going to change it. We're just going to keep going with it. But I find it humorous every time someone notes Apollo's voice being very different than what I've given him, especially in the cutscenes, where his voice is rather deep. But who is the young lady next to you? I'm Athena Sykes, Mr. Justice's junior partner and fresh out of law school. Well now, full of beans too, eh? Excellent. Makes an old man feel young again. Now for the prosecution. It appears the prosecution is not ready yet. Never fear, for I shall explain. It's just a minor procedural complication, Your Honor. The prosecution for this case is being escorted from prison as we speak. Prison? Oh, yes, of course. I almost forgot that he is currently serving time. Ooh, animated... well, 2D cutscene.
Yep, Prosecutor Blackwell's an inmate.
Well, that's quiet. Are they going to let him take the sword into the courtroom? I doubt it.
Even a convicted murderer still got a job to do and duties to perform.
Usually not, but I guess that's how it is in this universe. Oh, we get to hear our investigator's voice, probably. Nope, no voice for him. Oh, look at this edgy guy. Nice ponytail. Very fluffy. Who's that with his back to us over there? That's him. I'm sure of it. Prosecutor Blackquill. Is the prosecution ready? Enough jabbering. Get on with it already. Oh, of course, forgive me. Have I given that voice to someone already? I don't know. I hope not. Why are all the people related to this case so scary? Very well, Prosecutor Blackquill. Your opening statement, if you please. What's the matter? Must we continue to fritter away time like this? It is all right there in the indictment. An opening statement would be pointless. Pointless? Oh, well... looks like the cat, or in this case the prosecutor, has the judge's tongue. But, we need an opening statement as an overview of the case at hand. Well then, your baldness. If it's so important, why don't you do the honors? Who? Me? There's a term for people who whine and fuss about how they need silly, useless things. and then decide they no longer want them once it's theirs. A selfish old fool. Huh? Wait, was that the prosecution's opening statement? Old dotard such as you are a plague upon the young. I pity your poor grandchildren. Or is it great-grandchildren? All these years I thought the opening statement was the prosecutor's job. But I suppose I could give it a try. Might be a nice change of pace. What? He actually fell for that? Well, that must have been the power of suggestion Mr. Wright was talking about. The opening statement, huh? Let's see here. The victim was one Rex Cuby, alderman of Ninetails Vale. And the defendant, Damien Tenma, mayor of Tenma is accused of his murder. And why, pray tell, was the mayor arrested? His prints were on the murder weapon. Plus, he had a motive, the elimination of the biggest roadblock to the municipal merger. Man, I'm not used to doing judge voice this much. The caretaker and the secretary, other potential suspects, both have alibis. And his daughter, who was also in the vicinity at the time of the incident, has no motive. So, in a nutshell, I'd have to say the charges against the defendant are incontrovertible. That's not a word that I use frequently. I should write that down somewhere. Bravo, your baldness. Your years of experience shine bright like your head. Oh, flattery will get you everywhere. He's playing Simon Says with the judge. Moving right along now, let's hear from our first witness for today, Detective Fulbright. Witness, please state your name and occupation. I am the detective assigned to this case, Bobby Fulbright. Oh, and I'll also be keeping tabs on old Blackquill here. I also heard you'd provide protection if it ever came to that. It would seem that I have been sorely underestimated. Wait, who's protecting who from what? Still, I truly believe anyone can turn their life around, even old Blackquill here. Fulbright, save your platitudes for funerals. Get on with your statement. Ha! That's the spirit. Justice must be swift and true. I see it in your eyes. There is hope for your rehabilitation and return to society. I will never give up on you. Prosecutor Blackquill doesn't seem to intimidate Detective Fulbright. I love that dynamic. That is fantastic. I hope we get more of it. Well, you know what they say, ignorance is bliss. Oh, so that's why Detective Fulbright was assigned to Blackquill. He's so oblivious. Now, let's have your first statement, Detective Fulbright. You got it, but first, I'd like to say to the defense that justice will ultimately prevail. Weird delivery. Alderman Cuby was murdered with a spear that had been on the wall. The fingerprints on the defendant, Damien Tenma, were found on the murder weapon. At the time, Alderman Cuby was asleep from a drug he unwittingly ingested. Mayor Tenma attacked his helpless victim, impaling him like a human shish kebab. But the sudden pain jolted the victim awake, and he grabbed the statue and struck back. Alderman Cuby had been slipped some kind of sleep-inducing drug? Wait a second, let me check. Wait, no, sorry, don't do that voice. Let me check the record. Because if I remember from the photo, yeah. This is... Alderman Cuby had been drugged. Oh, we have his age here, 28. Got it. Anyway, that's like the opposite of the story we had. We were under the impression that the mayor, Damien Tenma, had been drugged, and that the spear went into Alderman's chest during that time. Did they not check Damien for drugs? They should have. I really hope they did. Alderman QB had been slipped some kind of sleep-inducing drug. That's right. The accused was scared because the alderman was a former pro wrestler. So he slipped him a drug to make sure he'd be out cold and defenseless. Here's the autopsy report to prove it. Let's see. Alright. And the victim managed to attack his attacker despite being impaled by a spear? That sounds almost superhuman. Is it even possible? Well, he was a former pro wrestler after all. That spear was probably nothing more than a mosquito bite to him. It killed him.
Objection!
Thank you, Apollo. Not so fast. Don't try to brush it all off by saying the alderman had been a pro wrestler. Do you really expect us to believe he could fight back after being skewered by a spear? Never heard of the incredible feats of which man is capable of in a pinch, have you? Like the samurai of yore, wrestlers can battle through intense pain. It sharpens their senses. I used to talk about it with a former wrestler I met in the clink. Now, stop that. Look at the photo. That spear is straight in his chest, and it's still standing straight after he has fallen over. That spear was impaled while he was... Well, that spear was still being impaled by the culprit while he was laying down. Or until the moment before he laid down. Not a chance. Stop that. I don't know. It still sounds a little far-fetched. Does it now? Then perhaps we should test the theory on you with the edge of my blade. I didn't sign up for this. And so your life is spared. For now. Please let those shackles be made of titanium. I don't want to die. Ahaha! My investigations are as thorough as they are foolproof, or my name isn't Fulbright. I vow to resign immediately if I ever make a false arrest. The accused's prints were on the weapon, and he's the one person without an alibi. Quite decisive evidence, wouldn't you agree, Your Baldness? My defendant is sounding guiltier by the minute. He has the judge leaning toward a guilty verdict, and the trial's just barely begun. What's more, a curious rumor about the accused is making the rounds. They say he seeks the murder for the purpose of freeing Tenma Taro from his imprisonment. Truth be told, I can think of no real reason to show interest in that backwards burg. Perhaps he's a complete nutter and really does seek to release an imaginary demon. Either way, he is raving mad and more than capable of murdering the alderman. I didn't quite catch all those statements. But that last one was funny. He tried to go to a blood bank and take a withdrawal instead of a donation. That's a good one. Order, there will be no gossiping in my court. Especially since you're not even a jury. Your Baldness, please take a gander at those charms plastered around his cranium. I hear they're meant to keep him safe from possession by the demon Tenma Taro. Then again, perhaps he's already under the demon's spell. Behold! The lunatic appears poised to lunge at you any moment. Yeah! Thank you, Athena. I was wondering when you were going to stop this. The rumors and quirks of Mayor Tenma have no relevance to this case. Besides, those charms on his head, they're just a fashion statement, I think. Come to think of it, such things don't seem relevant to the case, do they? The prosecution will refrain from dragging our client's reputation through the mud. Oh, what a dreadfully fearsome lass we have here. Whew, thanks for that lifeline, Athena. Be careful, Apollo. He has a judge dancing in the palm of his hand. The power of suggestion is one of the more powerful tools in Simon Blackwell's arsenal. He's trying to manipulate everyone's impressions to suit his objectives. This guy really is bad news. In any case, it seems the victim did manage to defend himself, despite being impaled. What sort of weapon did he use against his attacker? None other than this statue right here. It appears to be a statue of two strange creatures locked in battle. Two yokai, to be exact. On one side is the nine-tailed fox, and the other, Tenmataro. Quite interesting if you think about it. It's as though this very case were rendered in art. No prints. Got it. Mr. Justice, you may proceed with your cross-examination. Does that one guy wear gloves? Suppose we can't see. I'd be willing to bet he wears gloves. And the groundskeeper certainly would have access to gloves. Or I suppose he's a caretaker, not a groundskeeper. Oh, it's been so long since we actually saw the cross-examination, I don't even remember what was wrong with it. Bum 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 bum. Yes, Alderman QB was unwittingly drugged. Do I have anything that relates to the drug, or do I have to press it first? Let's see. Alright, we're gonna press this, since I'm pretty sure our guy was drugged as well. There we go. Hold it. Oh yeah, his voice is deep. Come to think of it, a coffee cup was found on the floor. Was that sedative in his coffee? Bingo! We found traces of a sleeping agent all over the inside of the cup. And that is why he was out cold. That is, until he leapt to his feet upon being impaled by the mayor. What an awful way to wake up. A rather stimulating eye-opener if you ask me. I, too, would have risen up to the attack, for to die in battle is the samurai way. Paradise awaits fallen heroes, but that hole in his stomach would make eating a challenge. Prosecutor Blackquill, please. Those morbid jokes of yours have no place in this court. Says the jester in detective's guise. Moving right along. Alright, that wasn't it. I suppose they didn't drug test Damien. Yeah? No, let me... There. Let me take a look at the picture. This most certainly did not seem like he got stabbed in the chair. Oh, that's the issue. There's no prints on the statue. Got it, got it, got it. Took me a moment to figure that out.
Objection!
Did the alderman really strike the mayor? What? Are you questioning my sense of justice? Your so-called justice needs to find itself a pair of legs to stand on. You claim the alderman struck back after the mayor put a spear through him. But the statue he supposedly used to defend himself creates a major hole in your theory. It would appear the defense has a counter-argument. Very well, let's hear what the defense thinks is odd about the detective's statue theory. There are no fingerprints. Yep, there are no fingerprints on the supposedly crucial piece of evidence. And if you look at the crime scene photo, you'll notice that the alderman isn't wearing gloves. Yes, I believe he is quite gloveless indeed. If he touched the statue with his bare hands, he should have left some fingerprints. Detective Fulbright, you did take that into account during your investigation, didn't you? This can't be happening. Did I arrest the wrong man? Oh, sounds like you're due for a legal name change, my friend. You did it, Apollo? You knocked Detective Fulbright off his high horse. Well, it's just 1 point in our favor. Who do you suppose clubbed the mayor if it wasn't the alderman? Well, if it wasn't the alderman... That means someone else must have clubbed the mare. You mean there's a third party there in the Fox Chamber? Exactly. And this could be the big break we've been looking for. There does seem to be a hole in the prosecution's arguments. Prosecutor Blackquill, would you care to respond to the defense's assertion? The least you could do is look at me while being dismissive. Your mind is as dull as an unhoned blade, Justice Dono. Well, we're using, unlocalized honorifics, are we? Suppose that fits his aesthetic. One moment, I want to get myself a drink. It should only take a few seconds. Alright, I'm back. Justice Dono? He's been watching too many samurai flicks. It'll be far more than that. It'll take far more than that to take... Oh, right. Slipping up my words. I'm back. It'll take far more than that to cut down Simon Blackquill. A whelp such as you has no hopes against my superior swordsmanship. This is a trial, not a sword fight, Prosecutor Blackquill. There's a perfectly good explanation for the lack of prints on the statue. You might recall that blood-stained cloth that they found at the scene of the crime. Well, it just so happens that the blood was the mayor's. So, what are you getting at? Hone your mind, boy. Why was there blood on that cloth? Solve that riddle, and you shall see the hole you thought you found, but is but an illusion. Now, let's see. How was that cloth used? Was it used... Apollo, don't answer this. Do not help the opposition. Remember that thing that Athena's been telling you this whole time about suggestions? It clearly is working on you, and the judge, and the audience. So please do not go further into it. Maybe the alderman wrapped the statue in cloth? In short, he wasn't touching the statue directly when he used it to strike back at the mayor. Ah! Precisely. Bully for you, boy. You see, this Apollo? You see what you've just done? You have just taken a very unlikely scenario. Because remember, this man has a spear in his chest, and you have just presented it as effectively your own idea, for all intents and purposes. Oh, it was nothing. And you're really in his palm of his hand. Can we get control of Athena again, please? Apollo, don't let him start manipulating you, too. You just closed the hole for the prosecution. I did? I did. Right. That a statue wrapped in cloth would leave no fingerprints as clear as day. But this also proves there are no holes in our theory of the alderman striking back. Oops. Oh, okay, well it was wrapped in a cloth. Suppose they thought ahead a little bit. Wait, can I inspect that in 3D model? It had a little question mark on it. Or not, it had a magnifying glass, I mean. No, I cannot. That's a very strange way to wrap it. Huh. Well, not strange, like as in... Okay, I should rephrase that. If you were to wrap this in cloth, that is the normal way to do it, yes. But striking someone with the pointed end when you're trying to bludgeon them seems very strange, especially when the pointed end has a big knot on it. That's going to act as a slight cushion. Huh. No fingerprints on the cloth. Do we have an autopsy report? We do. Oh, I didn't want an autopsy report. Not this. I meant like, did they not test Damien for anything? Like, they clearly didn't test him for drugs because that would hurt their case. But did they not even check if he has a in like a what sort of injury he has? Okay, never mind. Let's move on. Now, do you see how dull your mind is? I'll make sure to sharpen it next time. A particularly frightening inmate once told me that he always tenderly honed his blades before he went to work, like the samurai of yore. A samurai? Sounds more like a homicidal maniac to me. Actually, he was working in the prison kitchen at the time. Wait, so the inmate was a murdering samurai prison chef? It would seem that the victim and his killer were the only ones there after all. I was kinda attached to that hole. Now what? Apollo, I just thought of something. They didn't find anyone's fingerprints on that statue. Who's to say someone other than the alderman didn't hit the mayor with it? Thank you, Athena. You are quickly becoming my favorite member of the defense throughout all the games. Why didn't I think of that? Anyone could have not left prints on it. Actually, now that I think about it, I think the only person who's nearly as competent as Athena is Mia. But obviously, we didn't have Mia around for too long. And I guess, yeah, no, Mia really was the only one who was able to display any sort of competence, like, consistently. Then who, pray tell, struck the mayor with the statue? Please, illuminate us with your wisdom, young lady. There's only one answer. The real killer. Prove the existence of this real killer, then. What evidence have you? Oh, I'll give you evidence, all right. Athena, are you sure about this? To borrow your words, Apollo, I'm fine. Take a look at this. Black feathers and tracks, allegedly from a yokai, were found at the scene. I believe they're from the third party who struck the mayor of that statue. Is the defense actually suggesting some sort of monster killed that alderman? No, we're suggesting that someone was there because tracks were left, and neither of the people we say are in the room have, chicken feet. That's exactly what I'm suggesting. No, Athena, you just lost what little credibility we had left. Sorry. Guess I got carried away. Mr. Justice, we've no time to deal with objections between members of the defense. Sorry, Your Honor. It's just, this kid's still, well, a kid. Apollo, how old are you in this game? You do not show up in your own court record. You are, at most, 20 years old. Because Trucy is 16. Actually, how old was Trucy in the last game? Was she 15? I think she was 15. In which case, Apollo's either 21 or 22, probably, if I'm remembering right. So don't be calling Athena a kid. I know she is 18. So, yeah, that makes sense, but relative to you, shut up. Ouch, you meanie. I'm reporting this to Mr. Wright. So, is the court to believe the feathers and tracks are from a yokai, as you put it? No, Your Honor. I believe they are a fabrication. The real killer wants us to believe some sort of monster murdered the alderman. Interesting. Why do you suppose the killer would do that? Why indeed? Have you ever seen Scooby-Doo, Your Honor? Mr. Justice, you seem as new to this as your partner is. Ouch. I'm not reporting to Mr. Wright. Hoy, Fulbright. Explain to his baldness what these brats are missing. You know, the who and why behind those feathers and tracks. What? You mean you can explain all that? Haha! Our investigative prowess is without equal. I'm starting to think I chose the wrong profession. Very well. Let's hear about these so-called yokai feathers and tracks. This entire case centers on... Oh, wrong voice. This entire case centers on one man's attempt to crush opposition to the municipal merger. Mayor Tenma panicked when the amazing Ninetales helped embolden the protesters, so he stoked the villagers' fears by fabricating a monster. The strange feathers and tracks he planted made it look like a yokai was the killer. Those feathers and tracks stoked the villagers' fears? Absolutely. He knew exactly how to prey on their superstitious minds. Those feathers only gave weight to the idea that the alderman was slain by a demon. The accursed Dima Tenma Taro, that is. Is it Tenma who? Tenma Taro, the legendary demon locked away in the village's forbidden chamber. From a young age, the villagers are taught to fear the great black-feathered demon, and thus were they blinded to other, more plausible explanations. Hold on for a second. Before we start letting our imaginations run wild, isn't there someone that could be considered a suspect? Mr. Justice, please explain yourself. On the day of the incident, there was a special event held at QB Manor. And as a... Oh, one moment. Oh, good. And as a part of this event, there was someone dressed like in the likeness of Tenmataro. Obviously, this person is much more likely a suspect than any legendary demon.
Objection.
Oh, that's his voice. I want to keep him with a deep voice. Dullard, you are playing right into the killer's mind games. What? Listen here. The feathers and tracks were merely red herrings. The villagers believe the murderer to be the work of the real Tenmataro. However, the police believe that the person in the Tenmataro suit is the killer. Ah! The defendant sought to sow this confusion in order to deflect blame away from himself. However, he was knocked unconscious by the alderman, and thus our mentally deficient mayor was caught red-handed at the scene of the crime. That is complete conjecture.
Objection.
Please back it up with even one piece of evidence. Do you honestly believe Mayor Tenma would do something so stupid?
Objection.
The evidence speaks for itself. Fulbright? Right. It was the mayor's last-ditch effort to stop the opposition before things got crazy. The amazing Ninetales was fueling both the yokai craze and the anti-merger movement. Plus, he's one of the better-known master wrestlers and the hometown favorite. That's why the mayor panicked and set out on the path of injustice. But do the people of Ninetales Vale really believe a yokai is behind the crime? Yokai sightings are an everyday event there, so I wouldn't be surprised if they did. I must say, a crime that preys upon innocent, impressionable minds. Just so, a particularly silver-tongued inmate once had the following words for me. The innocent of heart are the easiest to prey. You don't say. Was this inmate a con artist? No. He was framed for the murder of his beloved. I actually felt sorry for the poor chap. Wait, so he wasn't the predator, but rather the prey? Yes, well... Now then, the defense may proceed with their cross-examination, which should be rather easy on account of not a single piece of evidence being brought up to support this conjecture. Do I have anything to go against the municipal merger right now? I don't think I do, but let's double check anyways. Bum, 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 bum. Oh, Jinxie's statement could contradict something. Bum, bum, bum. Strange feathers and tracks he planted. First of all, how would he have planted those if he was unconscious? Do you mean to say he did that before? I suppose he could have done it before he stabbed him, in your case. I'm still thinking that Jinxie's statement is the most likely thing, but I'm not opposed to pressing. I'd really love them to explain how the statue in there got unwrapped and put under the chair, but I think we just are just gonna have to accept that for now. Well, he didn't really fabricate the monster. The monster's been around for a while. Did the murder and the yokai evidence really stoke the villagers' fears? Absolutely. It had an immediate effect. The presumed return of the dreaded Tenma Taro had them shaking in their boots. Oh my, is it really that bad? A superstitious lot. It's as if Jack the Ripper had been set loose in their village. The mere thought of that demon lurking about is enough to spark a mass exodus. I see. It's a very persuasive argument. The mere thought of His Honor buying into the Simon the Psycho Slasher's words makes me want to spark my own exodus out of the courtroom right about now. So you see, there can be only one reason why anyone would plant those feathers in tracks. I'm gonna take a risk here. I'm just gonna immediately present Jinxie's statement without pressing, because I feel at this point the way we proceed with this is we get Jinxie on the stand, because she is going to be the key to getting the actual killer on the stand, which the game has already revealed to us, the players. And I think this is the best way to go about it.
Objection!
Oh, nope, that's wrong. That's unfortunate. Oh, I think this is our first wrong bit of evidence so far. That's, like, overall in the game. That statement clearly contradicts the evidence. I object to you on personal grounds. The sole contradiction lies in what your faulty logic dreamt up just now. Ah! Objection overruled. The defense will think twice before making such erroneous statements. It seems that statement didn't particularly conflict with the evidence. Alright, we're not going to read the, what's it called? The, incorrect evidence thing anymore. Since we're just doing that for the first time. Also, did you see that? We did something on the last statement and didn't immediately loop to the beginning. That's nice. Let's try pressing it instead. But it doesn't add up. If what you say is true, why top it off with murder? What do you mean? You claim that our client planted the yokai evidence to stoke the villagers' fears. If so, then why not stop there? Why murder Alderman Cuby? Excellent point. It is, isn't it? So, Your Honor agrees that there was no reason for the murder, correct?
Objection!
I was just gonna call him crazy, is that it? Perhaps the killing was on the spur of the moment. You're saying it wasn't premeditated? From the outset, I had no intention of paying heed to any of your babble. However, the fact is, the mayor made a startling discovery. A startling discovery? Why don't I like the sound of that? Alderman Cuby's secret identity. Apollo, I think Prosecutor Blackville has figured out Alderman's secret identity. But even if he has, why would it be a motive for the mayor to commit murder? This is not good. This patch of fur was discovered at the crime scene. It's from the mask worn by the amazing Ninetails. Therefore, we can conclude that this mask was at the crime scene. You should word that better. Not you, the character, but the writers. Oh my, but why would it have been there? The victim was a former pro wrestler and a member of the anti-murder movement. Need I say more? Well, Could it really be? Your baldness had an epiphany, I see. Our victim, Rex Cuby, was the amazing Ninetails, and the mayor's discovery of this fact was his motive for murder. No! Yeah, I can't be too loud, in case you're wondering why that no is so short. Order! Order! What a shocking development! Motive clearer than crystal clear. What do we do now, Apollo? I didn't think they'd tie the Alderman's secret identity to the mayor's motive for murder. At last, we have reached my real point. Why did the Alderman have to forge a secret identity? Does it not pique your interest, your baldness? I admit it does. It is odd that he had to create this other persona, just to secretly participate in the anti-merger movement. Very astute of you, your baldness. Right, now, take a look at this. Oh, it's the blackmail letter. We get to see it now. If you value your dearest's life, you will merge Ninetails Vale with Tenma Town. This blackmail letter was found in Alderman Cuby's pocket. What? At present, the Alderman's wife is in the hospital, and that the letter is clear evidence that the mayor was blackmailing him by threatening her life. Wait, didn't the blackmail letter sent to Mayor Tenma go missing? Right after the Alderman's murder? You think that maybe the killer took the letter from the mayor after the murder and planted it in the Alderman's pocket? I was thinking the same thing. Good on you for keeping up, Apollo. It's possible, but we don't have any proof that that's what happened. Talk about being up the creek without a paddle. Can we look at that in the court record a little bit more closely? Or is it just going to give us text? Just text. Alright. I don't think there's anything here that would give away what's going on. It seems to be intentionally worded to apply to both the alderman and the mayor. Okay. Mayor Tenma would have made a clean getaway if he just left after planting the yokai things. But he was knocked out cold by his sudden decision to kill the Amazing Ninetails. So it was the Amazing Ninetails' counterattack that brought the entire crime to light? Wait a second. Fulbright's claiming that the mayor killed the alderman after planting the yokai evidence, and that the mayor was knocked out cold immediately after that? Detective Fulbright, please add your previous statement to your testimony. Alright, we're back here. Mayor Tenma killed the sleeping alderman after planting the feathers and tracks. There was not blood on top of the feathers in that photo, were there? No, all the blood is underneath the feathers. But is that the angle they want us to take with this? That's the angle I would take. Hold on. Mayor Tenma was killed after the planting of the feathers and tracks. What else could apply to this? The mask is not relevant. The cloth and the statue are one piece of evidence now, so that's not relevant. Wait. I think it is the crime photo, because there's no blood on top of the feathers. That's what I'm going to go with. Objection! Yes, thank you. I got it right. Detective Fulbright, your sense of justice is anything but fair. What's this? You dare question my justice again? Yes, and I'm going to prove it to you. Take a look at this photo. This, is the crime scene photo. Just what does this prove? It proves when the feather and tracks were planted. But I already told you they were planted before the murder. The defendant had planted the yokai evidence, then was knocked out while killing his victim. But that would be impossible. If you look right here, it's clear when the feather and tracks were left at the scene. We're doing the feather, right? There's nothing else here that could indicate it? I hope so. Let's see. Aren't you just pointing to the yokai feathers and tracks, Mr. Justice? Yes. See how the feathers are on top of the blood, and the tracks were made in the blood? Oh, I got it. I love that. Thank you. In other words, the yokai evidence could have only resulted after the murder. Then the mayor must have planted the evidence after killing the alderman. Oh. Oh, my controller. Did it die? Okay, we're good. But you said it yourself. The mayor had been knocked unconscious thereafter. There would have been no time for him to plant any evidence at all. Therefore, there must have been someone else besides the mayor and the alderman at the crime scene. Ah! There must be some mistake. Ooh, that was bad delivery. Order! Order! Where's your evidence? You can't possibly have any, can you? Ha ha ha! Evidence? Oh, I have evidence. In fact, I have an eyewitness testimony for you. You do? But how? Was my vaunted sense of justice really just half-baked? Oh, my controller is dying. Okay, well, I guess we're swapping to, keyboard controls. Give me 1 second. Dun, 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 dun. Yeah, just look at this full-grown man pointing his fingers together while I move my desk around. There we go. He's taking this really hard. Mr. Justice, what is this testimony regarding a third party that you claim to have? Is my volume okay that I move my desk around? It's a bit loud, I think. But it should be good. Yes. I have it right here, Your Honor. It's a sworn testimony of Mr. Tenma's daughter. The witness, Jinxie Tenma, saw a yokai in the hallway after stumbling upon the scene. It was the demon Tenma Taro. He's the source of those feathers and tracks. Will somebody please say something? The defense will explain to the court exactly what he means. You dare to mock this court and justice itself? You're unfit to bear your name, boy. Your baldness? It appears our defense attorney here is delirious from exhaustion. Apollo, think of something quick before you're held in contempt of court. What do you think I'm trying to do? Before you decide whether I should step down, please, hear me out. Very well, Mr. Justice, I'm all ears. But you had better explain yourself well. Well, what was this yokai you were talking about? It's all in this statement here. Jinxie Tenma asserts that she saw Tenma Taro. After she discovered the crime scene and called the police, she came around a corner in the hall. It was around here that she saw Tenma Taro fleeing toward the foyer. The defense asserts that whoever was impersonating this monster is the one who left those feathers and tracks behind, intentionally or otherwise. What? How incredibly unjust! Why haven't I heard about this before? The defense just proved there's someone else. So the mayor isn't the killer? Was it all a setup? The prosecutor is a convicted felon, after all. Apollo, the momentum has shifted in our favor. Good. Now let's keep it that way. Objection. Little do you realize that though you are in the midst of a fray, your sword is broken. My sword? I didn't know I had one to break. Are you implying there's a problem with my claim? Consider this. That yokai impersonator had indeed fled toward the foyer. That fool and that fop would have seen him. Fool and fop? Oh, you mean Filch and LaBelle? Now that you mention it. Both Phineas Filch and Florent LaBelle were in the foyer at the time, but they haven't stated that they saw a yokai, have they? Did you ever consider that the yokai was but a figment of a scared little girl's imagination? Hold on. Oh, that was horrible. I had to cough and sneeze at the same time. That felt horrible. Oh, let's say it a third time. That felt horrible. Let's try not to do that again. Why didn't those two seeing the Tenemataro impersonator pass by? Why don't we ask them ourselves? I was just about to say that myself. No, really, I was. The defense would like to call Mr. Phineas Filch, caretaker of the QB Manor, to the stand. I just know he must have seen something. I suppose we can't ignore the fact that the little girl believes she saw a monster. I trust you have no objections to Mr. Justice's request, Prosecutor Blackquill? I understand that Mr. Filch is enjoying a nap out in the lobby. I knew that Tanuki was a rare find. But when we captured him, I didn't think he'd end up a witness. Do with him as you will. Did he just say captured? No, wait. I don't want to know. Very well, then. Bailiff, please go wake Mr. Filch and escort him to the witness stand. Alright, we're gonna take a drink, a quick drink before we continue. Will the witness state his name and occupation, please? Oh, what voice did I give him? The name's, Filch. Phineas Filch, caretaker of QB Manor. Oh, and, this is for you, your lordship. Just a little something I thought you might like. Oh my, what a fabulous pair of shoes. Your honor will do just fine, Mr. Filch. Ah, it's those shoes again. Don't tell me they belong to Detective Fulbright. Don't tell me Filch stole them again. They're all yours, your honorship, sir. What? But they seem awfully expensive. Yep, too expensive for me, but I'd reckon they'd be perfect for someone like your honorship. It's a kind gesture, but legal ethics dictate I can't accept such gifts. Aw, ethics, methics. Just take 'em if you want 'em. Polished 'em up real nice for you, too. I'm sorry about the shoes, Mr. Filch, but I will accept your testimony. The court would like to hear whether you saw Tenemataro in the foyer after the murder. Did you guys see that? That? Round of applause for our judge, actually showing competency and ethics for once. I didn't think the day would come. I thought he'd retire before that happened. Now, let's see what Filch here has to say. At the time of the murder, I was on guard duty in the foyer, just like Mr. QB asked. I was making sure no one, fair, foul, or fishy, or otherwise, could get to our guests. I was still in my office keeping a good watch when the murder happened after 3 p.m. But I didn't see nothing out of the ordinary, no sirree. That yokai you keep jabbering on about was but a phantom of a little girl's dreams. So, you're telling me this court you're telling this court you never saw anyone dressed up like Tenemataro? Yep. Was guarding the whole time. That's the truth, the whole holy truth, and nothing but the truth. That's a strange turn of phrase. And Tenemataro? Bah, you don't really believe in all that yokai mumbo-jumbo, do you? I certainly don't. Yeah, I had a feeling that was going to be a lie. My bracelet. It's... Something the matter, Apollo? My bracelet keeps squeezing my arm. Really? So, you think Mr. Tanuki, Filch, has been lying to us? I wouldn't rule it out. Now, if I could just zero in on a tell. Some sort of nervous habit. What in the... What's a hawk doing in here? Allow me to introduce my trusty cohort, Taka. He seems to have taken quite a liking to the courthouse. Made it his new home, in fact. He doesn't live with you, you know, in jail? Who's ever heard of a courthouse bird? Taka simply loathes trickery and fraud. And that queer power of yours seems to have offended my dear bosom buzzard. This isn't some sort of trick or... Ah! I won't be able to spot squat like this. What the heck's going on around here? Run for the hills! No pets or other animals allowed in this courtroom. Ah! Somebody help! Oh, he's merely having a bit of sport. He won't harm you, save when he's truly famished. In that case, Prosecutor Blackquill, you will ensure your feathered friend is properly fed. Looks like we have to do this the old-fashioned way. We'll be fine, I think. There was someone dressed up as Tamataro there. Filch should have seen them. We'll just have to put our faith in Jinxie's statement for now. Mr. Justice, please proceed with your cross-examination. Alright, how do we do this? Do we just show him a picture of him and see if he looks at it? Because if he does believe it, then he should believe that that's looking at it's bad. For his soul. Yep, you're on guard duty in the foyer. Oh, how do I turn over? Okay, that's how I turn. Let's see. Giving good watch when the murder happened at 3 p.m. You had... Where's the television schedule? Yes, this. You said you watched this, which means you weren't giving a good eye. Which you could use to call into question the validity of your statements. So I should probably press that. What's the other one? Nothing out of the ordinary? Well, I think we should probably press both of these. Did you really keep an eye on the foyer the entire time? Poor old Filchy. Been working hard my whole life. Only to be smeared by some greenhorn in his fancy smancy suit and silly haircut. Sorry, Mr. Blackquill, sir. Didn't mean to get off subject there. Sheesh. Blackquill didn't even say anything. To answer your question, yes, I kept an eye. No, both of them, in fact, on the foyer. Okay, well, I'm not even bothered pressing the next one. I just think he's lying here. Let's go ahead and present his little TV listings. Wrong button. Oh, you could use R.
Objection!
Don't lie to the court like that, Mr. Filch. Hey, it ain't right to bushwhack a fella like that. Unfortunately for you, I have evidence that proves you're lying. If you look at this TV listing here, you'll see that at the time of the crime, there was a pro wrestling match scheduled. Something you'd never miss. No, I didn't watch that one. No, sirree. I was doing my job, just like I was supposed to. And this guy doesn't know when to give up. Mr. Filch, someone even circled the match. It was you, right? Yipes. Not only that, you even told me you watched it. You said, and I quote, "It was a complete disaster." So, do you admit to slacking off? You can't trick me with your Rudy Poo lawyer talk. I'm one of them professional types, too. I can do double duty, watching TV in the foyer at the same time. The only thing Filch can claim to be as professional of is professional thief. Mr. Justice, you would have this court believe that the witness was slacking off? That's correct. He claims to have been watching TV at the foyer and the foyer at the same time. But that's nothing but a bald-faced lie. Bald, you say? But I'm not the one who's lying. Perhaps you meant the witness, Mr. Justice. And in that case, let's see what evidence you can offer. You claim Mr. Filch is lying about watching TV and the foyer simultaneously? Now prove it. Let's see. How do you want to go about this? Well, it's because the TV's facing away. Yeah? Please take a look at this, at the direction the TV is facing in this diagram. Now, unless Mr. Filch has eyes where his right ear should be, I'd think it'd be impossible to watch the foyer entrance and the TV at the same time. Why, yes. Someone watching TV there couldn't possibly see the entrance. Exactly. And that means, Mr. Filch, you were slacking off and you were not watching the foyer as you claim. Yipes. The bag's out of the cat. The other way around. Oh, his little box to stand on. I haven't seen that in a while. Order! 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 Ah, classic triple order from the judge. But, Mr. Justice, is Mr. Filch's less than stellar work ethic relevant to this case? It's very relevant, because while he was slacking off watching TV, there really could have been a Tenmataro impersonator in the foyer.
Objection.
What now? Granted, this Tanuki was lax in his duties, but he still had the foyer entrance covered. What are you talking about? This. I'm not a mind reader. Ah! Auditory senses. His eyes may have been slacking off, but his ears were still hard at work. Right, Tanuki? They were? Yes, they were. But you already admitted to slacking off. Now you say you weren't? My eyes might be lazy, but my ears ain't. I would have heard anyone in the foyer, huh? You see, the foyer floor and the stairway get all creaky-squeaky when someone walks on them. Creak, creak, creak. Loud enough to wake the dead, I reckon. So, you're saying you didn't hear anybody walk by? Yep, my ears were working full time, so who's the liar now, you no good shyster? A lying thief calling me a shyster. This has to be the low point of my fledgling career. You gotta hand it to you, Mr. Blackquill, sir. You really are something else. I mean, you don't miss a thing. And them bags under your eyes, they're darker than mine. Fair warning, Mr. Filch. Taka is particularly fond of Tanuki. Should you lie to this court again, you may suddenly find yourself on the menu. Yipes! Please don't eat me, Mr. Taka, sir. The witness will henceforth testify truthfully, under penalty of painful bird attacks. And with that in mind, the court requests that the witness revise his testimony accordingly. Alright, how do we want to go about this? Oh, this is a new testimony. It's true, I was watching a pro wrestling match on the office TV. My eyes might have been slacking off, but my ears, they were working overtime. Oh wait, no, this is the same thing we saw a second ago. Right, I don't know why they made him restate it. Superstition is the religion of feeble minds. Understand? A simple, rational explanation is best. Forget yokai, demons, and such. We must use common sense. For lacking that, our entire world would be but upside down. Says the convict prosecutor who is totally a sign of the end times for the legal world. And besides, if there were any yokai roaming about, I'd nab him and sell him to a zoo. I wonder whether Jinxie was just seeing things. That seems to be a general consensus, but I'm sticking to my guns. But what if we can't prove she saw Tenmataro? The mayor's sure to be convicted. Then we'd better hope my guns fire bullets, not BBs. The defense may cross-examine the witness. Alright, let's see what we got. How do we want to go about this? Let me check my evidence real quick. I'm pretty sure... No, the foyer diagram does not include events. What do we have that could disprove the ear theory? Bum bum. Bum 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 bum. Bum bum bum. Wouldn't he have heard Jinxie? She was there. Huh. I don't have anything that could tie to that though. We're assuming he wouldn't hear the crime scene because we don't have vent turret connecting directly to the foyer. Not the Ninetales mask. Oh, what would it be? Let's look through this one more time. Yes, this is fine. Not sure about that, so we'll probably press it. That double negative is probably just a part of his speech. Let's start by pressing this. So, you have pretty good ears, Mr. Filch. As good as they come, I'd say. Ain't nothing to hear a creaky floor. Plus, that Tenmataro makes a sound when he goes by. It's like a jingle jangle. Jingle jangle? How does he do that? It's that staff o' his. That's what jingle jangles. What's he talking about, Apollo? Beats me, but I guess Tenmataro has a staff that makes noise. Come to think of it, didn't Jinxie mention something like that too? She said she saw Tenmataro holding a staff-like object that made a jangly sound. I guess that's the source of the noise then. Well, Mr. Justice? Mr. Filch says Tenmataro jingle jangles. Would you consider that vital information? That is exceedingly important. Looks like I pressed the right thing first, eh? Extremely vital. I request that it be added to his testimony. Yes. Jingle jangle. Presents. How do you want to go about this? Do we present the staff? Not the staff, the scroll? Oh, this one's missing a hand, so it could reasonably have the staff in it. Bum bum. Yeah, she agrees that there's a staff. How do we go about this? I think I present the scroll because he doesn't usually have a staff, yeah? That's what I'm going to go with.
Objection!
Yep, looks like I got it. Tenmataro's staff would have made a jangly sound, you said? Well, I'm going to say that your story doesn't add up. Is there something the defense would like to share with the court? Mr. Filch, you say that you didn't see Tenmataro on the day of the incident. Why then did you assume just now that Tenmataro would be holding a staff? Huh? You see, the Tenmataro Jinxie saw held a staff in his hands, and she described its sounds just like you did, as a kind of jangly sound. Yeah, so he was holding a staff. What's your point?
Objection!
The point is that Tenmataro doesn't use a staff. Not normally. Well, what are you talking about? You see, this is the only known document depicting Tenmataro. Is there a staff in that picture, Mr. Filch? You're right. There's no staff, not even a cane or a walking stick. Ah. So the question is, why does the witness think Tenmataro uses a staff? I believe the answer will overturn the prosecution's case on the most basic level. Well now, this is getting interesting. Alright, Mr. Justice, it's time to show the court where you are going with this. Please tell the court why Mr. Filch believes Tenmataro carries a staff. Because he saw it. Mr. Filch actually saw Tenmataro right after the crime occurred. That's the only way he could possibly know about the staff. Busted again. Bloody hell, you duplicitous little... Yes, how's that feel, Black Quill? Not so funny when you're on the receiving end of the blade, is it? I need to look at that. Did Black Quill say bloody hell? He did say bloody hell. So I was already sort of getting the vibe that Black Quill here is a weeb, as we call him. Because he talks about the samurai in a very strange way. And he throws... And he threw out that one honorific, despite never using it again. That compared with his appearance, So I feel like I feel like it might be pretty good to break his voice and go in a completely different direction. Something more like Fulbright whenever he does that. We'll see how it goes in the future. Admit it, Mr. Filch. You did see Tenmataro that day, didn't you? Well? I'm begging you, please don't make me say it. But clearly you did see Tenmataro. Stop stalling and testify to the fact. No can do. No way, no how. You ain't got no idea how terrifying he can be. Mr. Filch still won't admit to seeing Tenmataro, even though everyone knows he did. The question now is why? Mr. Filch is scared to death. Is that why he can't admit the truth? Come to think of it. They say you must not gaze upon the Tenmataro, but in the event that you do, look, and then tell anyone what you saw, Tenmataro will claim your soul. Jinxie wouldn't admit to seeing Tenmataro after hearing about the village superstitions. She said that if she told anyone that she had seen Tenmataro, he'd claim her soul. Oh, wait. You think Filch believes that too? So Mr. Big Time City Slicker lawyer has heard about him? Them old village superstitions? Will the defense please explain what the witness is talking about? The people of Ninetails Village believe some pretty strange things, and their superstitions may be the reason our witness here can't admit the truth. The truth that he really did see Tenmataro. Darn straight, that's why. It's all right here. Do not gaze upon Tenmataro. Do not tell others if you see him. Ignoring the superstitions will cost you your soul. There is, however, one way to save it. Your immediate departure from the village. Freeing him will bring ruin upon the village. Okay. Ignoring the superstitions will cost you your soul. Let's see? That's why us folk in Ninetails Vale can't talk about seeing Tenmataro. Alright. That's probably, I imagine, going to be used like this flower whenever Jinxie takes the stand, inevitably. Or maybe Damien. I guess Damien could also take the stand. But yeah, one of them is going to take the stand, and we're probably going to have to use that with the emotion thing, because this explicitly says it gives courage to Jinxie. So, and I can't find any other use for it unless Damien has some deep meaning. And that clears up one mystery. The killer took advantage of the superstitions by wearing a Tenmataro costume. They knew that they knew that way no one would talk about him, so it was as if he never existed. The defense holds that this Tenmataro impersonator is the true killer. What?
Objection!
Superstitions, you say? What kind of a fool would actually believe such rubbish? And would that using silly... Oh, man, I should read better before I... Yeah, let's just try that again. And would that using some silly fairy tale could so easily expose the culprits? You'll need to come up with a more rational, common-sense explanation than that.
Objection!
Your common sense seems awfully narrow-minded to me, Prosecutor Blackquill.
Objection!
Try living in my world for narrow cells. Try living in my world of narrow cells, mortal danger, and dark, sleepless nights. There is no lack of superstitions in the Clink, but few are those who truly believe in them.
Objection!
Well, the village superstitions are real enough to the people in the Ninetails Vale. A life or death superstition might make even you a believer. Oh yeah, he had that facial expression he had there. He definitely is putting on a front, it looks like. Order! Order, I say! You fool of a Tanuki. 2 times now your lies have cost me. Sorry, I promise not to do it again. Taka, my fine feathered friend. Have at him! Yipes! He's gonna eat me alive! Head for the hills! Ah, he took off! Bailiff, what are you doing? After him! And with your fastest men! That's certainly not something you see every day. Oh, is this going to be the end of our first day of trial? Well, it would seem a new and important fact has come to light. A third party, disguised as the yokai Tenmataro, was at the scene. And now we have 2 witnesses who can attest to that fact. Any objections, Prosecutor Blackquill? Ellipses, 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 ellipses. Oh, he actually broke it. Uh-oh. What? Huh? Ah! His shackles. I'm too young to die. Justice Dono, long has it been since I've been forced to draw my blade. You had best say your prayers. Ah! Fulbright, isn't this your job to, stop him, protect me? Stop Apollo from losing his horns and his head along with it? And, detective, do something! Ha ha! Have no fear, Fulbright is here. When the going gets tough, the champion of justice gets going. Then get going already before he kills us. Oh, but I stand in awe of Simon Blackquill, for it is his sense of justice that set him free. Oh, objection, objection! I object to the Detective Fulbright's definition of justice. So get to work, please.
Silence.
Oh, that's a new one. Is he going to be using that often? I'm not in the habit of cutting down unarmed cowards. Oh, well, in that case, Prosecutor Blackquill, can I ask you to, you know... I think the judge forgot he's in charge here. So, Justice Dono's assertion is this. Tenmataro is the real killer, not Mayor Tenma. According to him, there was a yokai at the scene of the crime. Right, and that yokai, or rather, whoever was impersonating him, killed Alderman Cuby.
Silence.
Ah! Care to explain why Jinxie, being the first to discover the murder, did not see your alleged yokai there in the fox chamber? What? He is right. She said nothing about Tenmataro being in the fox chamber. Let me enlighten you. That little scamp heard a dying scream right before she opened the chamber door. And your point is? Upon opening the door, she found a freshly skewered murder victim, the alderman, and the homicidal maniac who had killed him, the mayor. No, there must have been someone dressed up like Ah! Then, why does that little scamp claim not to have seen a yokai in the fox chamber? Considering her father is accused of murder, surely she would have mentioned any third party that might have been in the room. I don't understand. Why didn't she see Tenmataro inside the fox chamber? There is but one way to find out. Ask Jinki Tenma whether she saw your killer yokai at the scene of the crime. Uh-oh. The final battle draws nigh. Only one of us will leave here alive. Long has my blade thirsted for blood. At long last it shall be sated. Wait, this is still a trial, right? You're being really edgy right now. Show me what you're truly capable of, Justice Dono. Well, very well, then. Both parties no doubt need some time to regroup. So the court will take a 10-minute recess in order to... 3 minutes. I'm sorry, but a 3-minute recess? Just so. Plenty of time if your destination of intent is the loo. The loo? You mean the bathroom? Sheesh, at least include enough time to wash your hands. See that you take no more than 3 minutes. All late comers will be punished. Yes, sir. I hereby declare a 3-minute recess before the battle begins. I declare Prosecutor Blackquill the winner of the round of Simon Says. Doesn't bode well for us if the prosecutor is running the show, does it? Alright. Let's take a moment to go over this. Once it gives me the option. There it is. Court record. So, why did Miss Jinxie not see the Ten Mataro when she opened the door to the Fox Chamber? But then she saw it a few moments later, whenever she was in the hallway. Well, I can think of two possibilities, and we're probably going to go over them both. The first is that he went into the air duct, which is probably the first three possibilities. The first is the air duct, which will probably be the first one we cover. And it will most certainly be proven false because it does not make much sense for him to be able to get up in there in costume and not leave any marks behind. The second possibility is that he was hanging out the window, which I think is extremely likely, especially since they noted the window can only be opened a little bit. And the final one would be the Forbidden Chamber, which has yet to be opened at all, to our knowledge, though the seal has been removed from it. So, it could have been opened. Not that the seal was doing any particularly hard work. The seal being on the door is just there to ensure that no one has opened it, because it would tear if it was not removed beforehand. And it probably cannot be reapplied. Yes. Actually, I realize now. Let me check something. Yes, this is unfortunate. I know I said this was going to be a longer one, but it would seem that I was wrong. This is actually going to be a shorter stream. We're probably going to end it right here. Oh. Are we? How much delay do we have on this? Are we still live? We are. Here, hold on. Let me see. If I do that, how long does it take to appear? Have you been having issues this whole time? I hope we don't have issues. Let me see. Okay, no. We haven't been having issues. It's just there's a lot of latency. Alright. But with that being said, I did just check, and we will be, in fact, be going longer than this. So let's just get back into it, yeah? We've gone over evidence. Let's see what dialogue we have with our client, or actually not our client, our next witness. Right? Is that it? Yes. Wait. No. I'm so sorry for being so continuously indecisive. It would seem that we are, in fact, out of time. That is what a messy end to a stream, eh? I haven't had one like that in a while. Alright, but we'll just go ahead and end it here. So, thank you all for tuning in. This has been Seek of the Scuffed, and I am signing off.